Hey y'all, here I am back with another review of Manifest. So I am literally doing my videos now so I can catch up. I believe a new episode comes on tonight, so I should be caught up by tonight. Thank you guys for the people who have watched my Manifest reviews, and shout out to the person who asked me to continuously review the show. I'm going to do that. So here's the thing about Manifest, y'all. It gets real complicated. Manifest is probably one of the hardest shows I've ever had to review because it's just so many working pieces that's going on, and almost everything is important. So work with me as I get through my review. So this is episode 2. I'm gonna upload my reviewed episode 3 after this, and then tonight, I believe when episode 4 comes on, I will do that too. So let's get to it. Okay, so we start off with Grace coming downstairs, okay? I mean, Grace is talking upstairs, talking to Angelina, and she's pretty much telling her, that don't worry about everything, everything's gonna be okay. I know that there's a lot going on, but don't worry, we got your back. So Ben, at the same time, he's downstairs and he's working on trying to find Vance. He's talking to Grace about it, and of course Grace is worried, and she's like, I don't really think you should be doing this. I want you home with me, because people got to remember, ever since Ben has been back, Ben and Kyle been back, they really haven't had time as a family to just chill. It's been thing after thing after thing after thing after thing after thing. It's just been a lot going on, right? Okay. So they're downstairs talking, Grace and Ben, and then right, I don't know if he was about to get up and leave. I don't remember. But I do remember that the Pentagon came knocking on the door. And they pretty much, came trying to question him. Ben, about if he knows where Vance is, and I'm sorry y'all, I have hair around here. If he knows where Vance is, of course he didn't say anything, so he's trying to figure out how the hell am I gonna get Vance back. So then we switch over to Michaela, and Michaela's back at work. She's getting all of these phone messages about what happened at the lake, right? So let's switch back over to talking about the Pentagon. So sorry, I didn't say this. I told y'all it's getting a little complicated. So the Pentagon knows about the trip, because that's what I think they was talking to Ben about. They know exactly what happened. Not exactly what happened, but they know that they both went, to, where did they go to? Was it to Costa Rica? I forgot where they went to, but they went somewhere, and the Pentagon knows about that. So let's get back to Michaela. So she goes and talk to the sergeant or whatever, and the sergeant pretty much is like, look, they wanted to get rid of your ass because, as y'all know, Michaela was from the police point of view. Michaela was randomly and weirdly popping up at spots where crimes hadn't happened yet, or she just so happened to be there as they were happening, and of course that's very suspicious, especially with nobody know what's going on. But the sergeant really likes Michaela, so she pretty much put her job on the line for Michaela and was like, if you mess up, I'm gone. So so she was like, don't worry, I'm gonna try to do everything by the book. I'm gonna keep you in a loop about everything. So then we go over to the lake, y'all. We go over to the lake. Girl, this man's kidnappers, the meth heads, they're alive, y'all. They're alive. And they walked out of the damn lake. I said, you've got to be kidding me. I can't even, I know that they did say it eventually, but I can't remember. But they was in that thing for a long time before they popped back up and was resurrected. So it's a lot going on, okay? So after they kind of figure that out, Ben pretty much figures out that they have 84 days to live, right? Because of the whole death date thing. So they have 84 days. So with them being concerned about Kyle and concerned about, the meth heads trying to come back and get him, they was like, look, Grace said, I'm just gonna go to my little brother's house. Now, we didn't even know that Grace had a little brother, and even Ben was like, are you sure he's gonna let you come? And she was like, trust me, he's gonna do it. So they end up getting their stuff together. They have a nice little heartfelt moment. Now, originally Olive, all of them was supposed to go except Ben, but then we'll talk about it a little bit later, what happened with Olive and Angelina. But Olive ended up not going, so it ended up really just being the baby, Grace, which I keep forgetting that there is even a baby. The baby, Grace, and Kyle, they head out to go to her brother's house, okay? So Michaela and her partner, I can't think of her partner's name, but her partner was super happy that she was back. But they pretty much is like, look, we about to go out to the lake to see what's going on, because they got a video footage of it. Sorry, I didn't bring that up. That's how Michaela ended up seeing like video footage of them, you know, of what happened at the lake. And when she was talking to her sergeant, she was like, so why are they contacting you? And she was like, well, I told them that if anything weird happened to contact me. And the sergeant was looking at her like, do it all by the book. I don't know what the hell is going on, but do it all by the book. So anyway, they get there and they pretty much find that there's like a couple that was beaten up really badly by the lake. And the woman pretty much said that the woman that was like one of the women that was beat up with her husband said that it was 3 men that they came, beat them up, and took the RV, and that one of them said, what month is it? So of course they all freaking the hell out. So then let's go over to Angelina and Olive. Angelina ends up having a vision. We see her like she's kind of like sitting down and she's having, I call them visions, I know they call them callings, but I call them visions. So she has a vision pretty much of like this flying thing. It kind of looked like a angel a little bit, but then like it shatters like when it touches her. Like it was really, really weird imagery, whole lot of weird imagery. So she pretty much is she ends up talking to Olive about it, you know, and trying to make sense. She was like, I always have this like calling over and over and over again, and I don't know what it means. And of course Olive is deep into this now, so she knows that means something. We need to figure out what it's bringing you to. Let's go figure this out. So she asked her all of these questions like, does it remind you of anything? And Angelina ended up saying it kind of reminds her of the high school that she went to. So Olive is going to end up going with Angelina to figure this out, which is why she told Grace and them that she's not going, because she needs to help Angelina figure out what's going on. So that's why Olive ends up staying. So then we go to the Doc and Ben. Okay, Ben goes to the Doc to go and show, you know, his hand or whatever. And it's like a sore, kind of like, it's like a sore like here and here, and like here it's kind of marked up red. And the Doc is like, what the hell? Like, I need a sample of this. Like, he was like, no, it's not the big, no, I need a sample of this. So she you know, so she takes the sample. Then we go back over to Michaela. Okay, and Michaela ends up finding the RV. Like as they're driving, they see the RV, so they take off going after the RV. Now you see the 3 meth heads in there. They're looking out like, oh my gosh, the police is coming after us. What the hell are we gonna do? So what do? They take a gas tank, like, you know, one of them little thingies that be like in the blue Rhinos that you'll pick up from like Walmart or something. They took one of those gas tanks and literally threw it out the damn window and almost killed my girl. Do you know how frustrated I was? Don't come for Michaela. Don't come for my boo. Don't come for her. And so they end up, you know, crashing the car because she had to like swerve out the way. So then we go to the perspective of inside the RV, and you know, they're just like pretty much all freaking out about the fact that they all came back to life. They're like, bruh, we were dead. Like, there's no way we were dead. We was in that lake for a long time. And one of the guys, which I think his name is Pete. I think it's Pete. He's the guy with the like longer hair. So there's the black guy. The guy Pete, I think that's what his name is, with the longer hair, and then you got the main evil bad guy with like the dark hair and the mustache or whatever. That reminds me of like Ron Swanson or something like that. And so, you know, they're talking about, he was like, well, you know, we're about to you know, figure out what exactly is going on, like we are alive again. And Pete is pretty much like, I don't think we should be like throwing stuff at the police. Like, I feel like if we was brought back to life, it's so that we can do something right. I don't like what we're doing, because the main guy is like trying to be like, no, we need to pretty much like steal, rob, do what we need to do. And the other 2 are kind of like hesitant about it a little bit. So then we go to the school. We're with Olive and Angelina, and they end up seeing like at the school, there's like this stained glass on the outside, and it kind of looks like the angel that was in her calling. And so they kind of talk about that a little bit, and Olive is trying to pry a little bit more so that they can figure out what's going on. She ends up revealing that she did bury a time capsule when she went to school there. So they pretty much like, Olive was like, boom, bet, we gotta go open up a time capsule. And she's like, but there's nothing that's important in there. You don't know that, girl. Let's go open the box. So they're worried about that. So then we go over to Grace, okay? And Grace goes over to her brother's house, okay? Opens up the door. Grace got a black brother. So I'm like, girl, I didn't know that you was black. I mean, thank you. I appreciate the representation, because the only black people that we got in there is Vance. So shout out, I believe her brother's name is Tariq. Yes. Shout out to Tariq. Shout out for the black representation. But anyway, when she gets there and opens the door and says, like, you know, hi or whatever, he was like, it's been 10 years since I've seen you, and you just pretty much up and disappeared. You didn't help me with nothing, but you think that because you're my sister, that regardless I'm always going to be there for you. Which is exactly what it is that she was banking on, because that's what she told Ben. She was like, regardless, we're family. And he just feels like, well, you didn't reciprocate that energy. So he, boom, slams the door on her face. So then we go back over to Olive and Angelina, and she goes through they dig up the time capsule, and she ends up finding this picture of her, like when she was in front of, like, I don't know if it's like an ice cream or a slushy type of place or whatever. And, you know, she said that's like the last time she can remember herself being happy. Remember that picture, because that picture is important, okay? Then Ben goes to see Vance's wife, okay? And she pretty much knew that he was going off the grid, you know, but she's like, look, I know he was going off the grid, but he said he was coming back. And then when Ben explains what happened, she was like, oh, so this is your fault. Bring my husband back. Don't come back here unless you have my husband. I said, I know that's right, Mrs. Vance. I know that's the hell right. And so she also says to him, the truth shall set you free, which is a line, which is the same thing that when the Pentagon agents came to his house earlier that morning, that's what one of the agents said to him when they were walking out. So he's like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And he was like, where have you heard like that phrase from? That's what he says to like her, to Vance's wife. Has anybody else like said that, or anybody else around Vance? And she was like, the only people that would know that is if like they seen his grave. So we'll get back to that in a minute. So let's go back to Angelina and Olive for a second, okay? I told y'all it's a lot of back and forth, but y'all watch the show so y'all know this. So we go back over to Olive and Angelina. They end up going to the place, you know, the same place where the picture was taken. They go there. They go get some treats or whatever the case may be. And while they're leaving, the picture that she has drops out of her pocket, okay? So we go back to the RV guys, and they're like, the main bad guys like, hey, we're gonna go to my old job or whatever. Comes to find out, because everything is connected. That's why I'm saying this is a really complicated show to review, because everything is like connected. The place that is the main bad guy, his old workplace, is the same place that Olive and Angelina was at, the same place that was in her picture. So they end up going there, okay? Then we go back over to Grace at her brother's house, well, outside of the house or whatever, and Kyle is outside playing basketball, you know, with Tariq, and Tariq is, you know, telling him, oh, you know, you're good, and where did you learn all of this from? And Kyle's doing what he's supposed to do. Shout out to Kyle. He loosening him up. He's like, well, you know, my mom taught me, but she told me that she learned everything about basketball from you, and you know that you're such a good person. And he was like, go talk to her. I said, I know that's right, Kyle. You better be the grown little man that you are. So he goes to talk to her, and they pretty much like hug it out or whatever. So I forgot what is it that Kyle heard, because mind you, this is 2 episodes. I don't remember exactly what Kyle heard, but Kyle was saying something, and when he was saying it, all of the guys in the RV could hear it. So they're all like, oh my gosh, this man, this guy, this little boy, he trying to kill us, he trying to mind trick us, we don't know what the hell is going on, okay? So they end up getting to the guy's old job, the same place that Olive and Angelina were at. And wait, is it? Oh, it's not, his name is not Pete, it's Jace. Is that what it is? It's Jace. So the guy with the long blonde hair, because I can't think of his name right now, when he is like in that area, he sees the picture on the ground. So he goes and he picks up the picture or whatever, and he's just staring at it. And by this point, Michaela has pulled the hell up. Okay, Michaela has pulled up, and when she pulls up, the other 2 hop in the RV and they speed off. But Jason's like, no, there's something about this picture. Like, I think I'm supposed to be here, or I'm supposed to meet her, or something like that. So Michaela ends up getting the guy Jace, which I think that's what his name is, because I think that's what I have down here, but I'm not too sure. So Ben goes to Vance's grave because, as y'all know, or maybe y'all didn't know, Vance faked his death. So when he gets there, it says, the truth shall set you free on the headstone. And then Vance's partner, old partner, is standing like behind Ben, and he's like, I've been waiting for you to come here all day. Like, pretty much he doesn't understand what the hell is going on. So he was like, is he like alive or something like that? He's like, yes, he's alive. He kind of breaks down everything that happened. He was like, I fucking knew it. I knew that man was alive. I knew it. And then I knew it. So Ben is like, we need to get him back here. And he was like, I think the way that we can do it is by exchanging information about 828. And I feel like if we do that, then maybe we can get him back. And the partner is like, this is going to be hard, but sure, we can go for it. So that's their next plan in motion, okay? So then Olive and Angelina comes back, okay? Olive and Angelina, they end up coming back to the ice cream slushy parlor, whatever the hell it was. And when they get there, of course, they see Michaela there and stuff. And she was like, oh, why are you guys here? Like, what's going on? And Olive is like, well, she dropped something, she dropped a picture, so we came back to grab it. And by this point, because they had arrested, Jace or whatever, she has the picture. So she was like, is this the picture right here? She shows it to her. She's like, yeah, this is the picture. So then Jace is like, no, like, that's mine. That's my picture. That's my picture. Because that's me in the picture. She says, no. Angelina goes, no, like, that's me. Like, I'm the little girl in the picture. He said, not that. I'm talking about the person behind you. Now, in the picture, there's a little boy that's standing behind her and, like, kind of staring at her or staring into the camera. And that's him. I said, come on, how does it all come together like this? Okay, so Angelina is the girl in the picture, and behind her is Jace. Mind blown. Mind fucking blown. It's all connected, okay? So then we go over to Zeke and the doc, okay? And Zeke is just kind of looking at Doc, and he's just kind of like picking up on some things, like, now that I think about it, because I've seen episode 3 at this point, there is something going on with Zeke. I'm going to touch on it on my next review, but this just hit me. There's something going on with Zeke. So Zeke pretty much realized, like, he's looking at the doc, he's like, there's something off with her. Something ain't right. So he goes into her, office and lab, and he was like, is everything all right with you? Like what's going on? Because something seems off about you. She says that, she's not having any callings, and it's actually freaking her the fuck out, when it's not really that. It's that, but it's also the fact that she killed the woman and she didn't mean to. So, he's like, well, don't worry about it. It's all going to work out. And so before he leaves, the doc is like, how did you know that there was something wrong with me? And he was like, I don't know. I just kind of like got a feeling about it. And she was like, everybody been around me. Everybody else that's been around me this whole past couple weeks. Not one person has noticed that something was off about me, but you did. Hold on to that piece of nugget for next episode. Woo, that just hit me. What's going on with Zeke? What y'all think is going on with Zeke? Y'all tell me what y'all think is going on with Zeke, okay? So then at the end, because this is the end of the episode, we go over, like, flashes the news or whatever, and the news end up finding out about the tail fin that was found, and I'm like, who child, okay? I also didn't bring up in the first episode, I'm sorry, within everything that was going on, the lady, what is it, her name? Her last name is Fitz. The lady that the doc killed, her daughter had came in or whatever in the beginning of the episode, and we didn't know who her mom was until the very end when they looked at her file. So I forgot to bring that up last time. But then, at the very end, we see them talking about the tail fin, and as they talking about the tail fin, we switch over to Ben, and Ben's hands start glowing again. And then not only is his hand glowing, but then when we switch over to the tail fin, the hand print on the tail fin is glowing. What in the lost John Locke is going on here? We're gonna figure it out, y'all. I'll be back for episode 3. Bye.